Thomas, you told us a little bit about that you weren't vegan and then you were vegan. You can tell us about that in detail if you'd like to, but would you have any thoughts you would like to share? You've made the film. I'm sure you've seen it. What would you like to share, either on what Diane or anything you'd like to share?
So everybody kind of knows why I went vegan. The film kind of explains why I went vegan. You know, I think if I was just going to share anything, I would just share a couple things. One is I'm hoping the film is an inspiration for people to follow their calling. You know, the film I'm working on now, we explore it a little deeper, but, you know, when you see the film, you know, I'm a single dad. I live in an RV. I live in the woods. Like, how was I able to do this? And in the second film, I traveled back around. Like, how are these things possible except for like meditation and, you know, leading and following your calling and saying yes, when a lot of times, you know, the surroundings and situations may say, how can I say yes? You know, I don't know that I can say it. Always like, if say yes and then do the best you can and see where you go from there. So that's the one thing I would say. The other thing I would say is, you know, I think it's important that right now in the situation the world is in, like we're all being full of fear and division and everything. I think it's so important that we remind ourselves that that compassion, like what you see in the film, everyone has a true compassionate nature. Everyone. Right now, people are maybe acting out of fear and saying this and saying that. And you may feel divided, but always try to remember the true compassionate nature that lives in the heart of everyone. Because one of the things I've learned making the new film, speaking to different psychologists and people about communication, is that when we speak to people from a place of shame or anything that can shame or feel guilt or bring any of those emotions up, right away it kind of triggers the blood to rush to the back of your head and the person you're talking to. And at that point, it's like fight or flight. You're not hearing another word really. You know, so I just encourage everyone to, and at the end of the film, you know, I said, I challenge each of us to live a more compassionate life, you know, and part of that challenge for me is something that the film, the last part of the film, of that film, was creating the Compassionate Living Challenge, which is online now. So I encourage anyone, whether you're already vegan or plant-based or not, to take a look, go to prayerforcompassion.com and look at the Compassionate Living Challenge, because what the Compassionate Living Challenge really is, in so many ways, is teaching us to start with ourselves, start with compassion and acceptance of ourselves and taking care of ourselves so that we may be able to follow our guidance more, tune in better to whatever, you know, our path may be, and to be able to have the energy and the love and the peace to follow through. Because one of the things I learned making the film is that if I can just if I can find time to meditate, find time to sleep, find time to exercise, and find time to eat healthy plant-based foods, get those smoothies and all those nutrition in, it's really hard for me to lose focus and to feel the anxiety of you know, of the moment. I mean, this took 4 years to make. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in that time. And I really had to learn to rise up to face my doubts and fears, because they never go away, and just pray and meditate and take care of myself in a way that allows me to just go through those and learn so much from going through those. So I guess if I were just going to say anything, I would just encourage people to love and take care of yourself and look at that challenge and see what works for you. See if there's something in there that resonates with you, and take what works and leave the rest.
Thank you so much, Thomas. That was beautiful. Appreciate that. Haithem, I want to bring you into the conversation before I go to the chat. Oops. Okay, thank you. And ask you, I know you've seen the film before. Did something stand out for you this time, something you'd like to share?
Well, I felt the part about the five senses was very touching because it's so true. And I want to answer the other question you asked also about how I became vegan. It's because, Roxy, come here. I'll show you the reason. Come here. Come here. Up here.
Ah.
So having Roxy, and like when I bonded with her, I just realized, like she helped me realize that all animals are living sentient beings that are exactly like us. They feel like us. Things make them happy or sad or pain, or they are incredible. And obviously it's not just dogs. I mean, all animals are like this. So when I discovered the beauty of this animal here, I just realized that we need to treasure all living things, all living beings. And I see a question from Nancy about Roxy being vegan, and the answer is yes. I am proud to say that she is vegan. I've researched this a lot because there's nothing I want to do that would harm my dog. She's the most precious thing in my life, so I wouldn't want to compromise her health. Of course, at the same time, I don't want to kill innocent sentient beings just for her to have a meal. I mean, she can, so I studied it, I researched it thoroughly, and vegan diets are totally okay. There are vegan foods out there that contain all the nutrients and all the proteins that dogs need, and she's actually healthier. She's been vegan for almost a year now, and she's actually healthier than she was before being vegan.
Thank you, Haithem. I'm glad you answered that. I wanted to go to the chat for a minute. Diamond says, one thing that stood out was 1 slice of cheese equals 16 ounces of milk. I think that was a good section. We don't realize how much milk we're consuming. Cow milk that's meant for a cow. And then we have another comment by Nancy about the ecological damage by our choice to raise and feed animals. That was compelling to her. And would either of you like to speak on that, Lisa or Thomas, on the damage to the environment?
I think either one of us probably could. I mean, the things that making the film that really shocked me, seeing Cowspiracy, it might have been in Cowspiracy, but you only take in so many facts at a time, and making the film, watching things over and over, you really absorb a lot more. And when Silas was talking about animals eating 5 times the food we eat, that was to me very shocking. If you think about the fact that, just removing animals from our diet would remove the need for so much grain and soy and grazing land and, all of these things, and pollution. I mean, it's just like, and I think the film really, hopefully you see just that last statement, you see that animal agriculture is the #1 destroyer of the planet. Like nothing comes close. Even if things may be more in carbon or more whatever, the fact that the pollution and the water use and the dead zones and the deforestation and the species extinction, like all of these things are like, how can we not see it? And as spiritual and religious people, whatever tradition you study, they all talk about taking care of the environment. And, they use different terms, whatever it may be, but we are all mandated to be good stewards of this planet. And overall, it's not happening at this moment. But so that's what I would say about the environment.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll add to that. One of the things that also Silas said in the film, which was something that I hadn't really considered before, which is that a lot of the animals that people eat they're babies, and when babies are growing, they're consuming so much. As we know from our human babies, they're just always needing new clothes. So they're growing, and that's the same thing that's happening with the animals that live on the farm. And so they're really in a highly consumptive stage. And when we in turn eat the animals, I mean, especially something like milk, which is the purpose of it is for cow's milk to have a baby cow to grow into a gigantic cow that weighs almost a ton. And so the idea of us drinking that is really out of sync with our own species needs. So it would be more natural for us to have human milk actually with our bodies. But even most animals do not drink milk after they mature, after they've grown to the size that they're fully grown. And I think that's something to really consider when we're thinking about what we eat and drink for our own well-being.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you, Thomas. When I first became
BJ, sorry, can I just quickly insert a plug here for since we're speaking about the environment. Our next film screening on Wednesday is Cowspiracy, so it talks about exactly this, and it covers it really well. That is actually one of the films that also helped me become vegan. But yeah, I just wanted to remind people that we have a film screening on Wednesday.
I'm so glad you did, Haithem. Thank you for that, because that's a powerful movie also, documentary. And I was going to say, at first I was vegetarian because I didn't want the animals killed, but I had no idea of how much death there is in the dairy and egg industry. And then, so a lot of it is eye-opening. And I want to thank the people who have come tonight, because there's a fear of finding out. If you're afraid that your lifestyle might change, then sometimes people don't want to see it. So thank you for the people that have attended and are open-minded and considering, what they've heard and seen tonight. Let me see if there's any other. Oh, here's a question in the question and answer. Nancy says the ecological damage caused by our choice to raise animals to feed ourselves was the most compelling to her. This question is to BJ. Is there a visual image that still lingers with you? Maybe a statement, please share. Oh, maybe that's just an answer to that question, or maybe it's to me. But for me, the first one that I started tearing up at, even though I've seen this film before, was after we were looking at the two pigs whose names I don't know but were rescued. And the three of them had gotten off the truck together. They're living their lives together. And then it goes to where they're throwing the pigs around, which is the way they're treated. In the industry, they cannot allow them to look at them in the eyes and do what they would naturally want to do, which was, oh, aren't you cute? That's what you'd want to show with your child. So when I saw that, I was moved to tears, as well as the story about the cow also. So thank you for that. Bridget, have programs been developed to help farmers and ranchers with their livelihood for a plant-based, for going plant-based? That is a big concern. We have all these farmers, and we don't want them to be suffering also.
Yeah, there's actually a wonderful program that is from the Rowdy Girl Sanctuary, which I believe is in Texas.
Yes.
And she has a program called WRAP, I think it is, and it has to do with helping a lot of ranchers transition their business to a vegan business. And so that's a wonderful program, and I think there's some other similar ones that help dairy farmers transition even from animal-based milks to plant-based milks.
Yes, that's right. Rowdy Girl Ranch is just, 30 minutes from here. So yeah, it's a place one can go visit or call. Rancher Advocacy Program, I believe. Yeah, thanks. And let's see, thank you so much. The next question is, where did the data about the animal ag come from? And I can say a little bit about it if y'all, unless you would like to.
I'll just say one thing, and maybe what you say is, I know a lot came from Silas and the people I interviewed, but one of the best resources for that will actually give you the names of the studies and everything would be the Cowspiracy website. I'm sure the facts that Silas gave are on the Cowspiracy website. They have a particular facts page or something. I forget exactly what it's called, but it goes right down and it's all about the environment. So that would be my suggestion.
That's a good one. I'd forgotten about that. Also, if you go to climatehealers.org, that's a website that he's created. It's got so much information on it. And if you look at his position paper, he also uses the data directly from the IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. He uses their data. And he also uses the data of William Rudiman, who has this whole theory, and it's very clear about climate change. And so, yeah, that's it. Good question, Pat, because we don't hear people talk about animal agriculture as being number one. We hear about it as important, but everybody's focused on fossil fuels. And he's using the scientists' data themselves to show, hey, look at it and see for yourself. Good question, Pat. Let's see. Oh, what about, Lisa, can you tell people about, we have at least 4 different religious groups here tonight. And let's see, yeah, Baptists, Baha'i, Unitarians, and St. David's Presbyterian, and there may be more. So can you tell us what materials you have developed, what you might be working on, because you have materials developed for people, don't you?
Oh, yes, we do. Thank you for mentioning that. We actually have some faith-based vegan advocacy kits that are specific to each religion. And I think we do have a Baha'i, we have different denominations. So you can find all of that at interfaithvegancoalition.org. And what we have there are these advocacy kits, and we also have there are brochures that you can download and share about how to transition from vegetarian to vegan. There are some that are also just focused on not being a specific tradition, but having 10 suggestions to help align your place of worship with vegan values. So some of them are more generic and others are very specific. And we do put together a newsletter every month that we share with people with different news, and so people can get involved, and we support the screenings of these films. This is so exciting to get the word out to different spiritual communities. And the purpose of those vegan advocacy kits is to help people within their tradition to have some resources, some poems, some book ideas, some event ideas, some stories to share, music that all displays this connection that we have with animals, and also extending our compassion to animals, and also promoting veganism. So it'll give tons of ideas that you can go back to the people at your place of worship, to the administration. Sometimes there's something simple like, how about having cruelty-free cleaning products? Little steps that each place can take that can actually make a difference for thousands of animals.
Oh, that's a great idea. Sometimes people only think of the food that they're eating, but really it extends into, we don't want those animals harmed in experiments and that sort of thing also.
Yeah, to be compassionate with what we're asking as well, for people to take a small step and then see how it feels, and then take another small step, and then next thing you know, we're really living very compassionate lives.
Mm-hmm. And it's good to hear if the church is using a product that's vegan, that doesn't harm animals, then other people in the church would want to. I would want to. Everyone wants to be their best compassionate self, I think. Okay, on to another thing that I'm remembering, that you went to the Parliament of World Religions in Canada recently. I'm not sure if I'm saying the title of that right, but that's where people from a lot of different religions come together and have seminars. And what was so special this time about this Parliament?
Wow. So the Parliament of the World's Religions is actually a worldwide event that happens every 3 or so years. And we had attended the one in 2018. That's where we launched our Interfaith Vegan Coalition in terms of having our materials. We brought all of those advocacy kits there for people to see in person and hold on to, although they are accessible on our website. So that was a really special opportunity. And we spoke with, I think it was about 8,000 people came through. We had a very large booth where we had little trailer of the film. We showcased the film that you just saw one of the evenings. And we also partnered with a wonderful a company that produces vegan food that is based in India, the Green Dot, and they joined us in this booth and they fed people who came to just have an experience of what is vegan and learning about veganism, but then they got to taste some of the foods. And that was very exciting. And we even hosted a banquet for 300 leaders around the world through the Charter for Compassion. And we were able to offer them a vegan food, and many of them had never tried it before. And they thought it was really great. And we explained why we were doing that, to really encourage this compassion to extend beyond our fellow humans to other non-human beings, other animals of all shapes and sizes. And so it was a great opportunity to do vegan advocacy with people who are truly caring and spiritual and want to do the best thing for the world.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Let me see if there's any other question, anything in the chat here. Oh, Lisa, you might put in the link in the chat, if you would, how people could get in touch with those materials.
I will do that. I'll do that. Thank you. Great idea.
That might be a wonderful thing. Please write your questions in the chat. Haithem, if you have a question, chime in. I'm going to ask Thomas, how is your daughter, and is she still vegan?
Yeah, she's doing great. She is still vegan, very proud to be vegan, and she should be proud. She lives, with me it's very easy, but at her mom's house, she's the only vegan. Although her mom's mom became vegan at Summerfest last year after seeing the film and spending the day going to some of the workshops. And she said what really sealed the deal for her was she's a nurse, and she said that at the end of the day she realized she had met all these wonderful people and looked around, a lot of them older than she is, like a lot of and everybody looked healthy, everybody was happy. She says when she goes to nursing seminars and all, she said a lot of them look like they're sick, so she was like, yeah, she was already leaning in that direction, but she went over with that.
Well, that's fabulous.
Yeah, Melody.
Yeah, thank you. That's fabulous news. Let's see, are there any other questions? Okay. Thank you, Lisa, for putting that in the chat. You're welcome to copy and paste from the chat and save it. You can ask me later or Haithem later if you know us and you miss it, you can get it. Haithem, do you have any questions on your mind that you'd like to talk about?
I was actually about to post a link to the 22-day diet plan, but I can't find it. If one of you has it handy, would you please post it in the chat?
Yes. The 22, challenge22.org, I think.
Yeah.
And
there's also Thomas's challenge as well. Do you have that link for Thomas's? You might want to put it in that box also.
Put that in there. Is it the Compassion Project?
It's aprayerforcompassion.com.
Okay.
And you can either click take the challenge, or you can put a slash and put challenge, but it's probably easier just to click take the challenge.
Okay.
And the challenge also, at the end of the challenge, there's a lot of links. There's a link to a link page. And in the link page, you'll find sites like Challenge 22 and other sites that, it's divided into categories. Categories like how to go vegan, why to go vegan, about meditation, about exercise, about all the different things the challenge may have, you know. So it's a one-shop all kind of stop for a lot of resources if you're deciding to go vegan.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, I put in the chat a prayerforcompassion.org. Is that correct?
.com.
.com. It is .com. Thank you. I'm glad I checked.
And I'm looking at it now. Yeah, it's a treasure cove of resources. I mean, there's everything there. There's so many resources. Thank you for making that available, Thomas.
I also included in there a link. In Defense of Animals has a really nice and very popular vegan guide, and it's got all kinds of information in it, recipes, and also self-care tools, and you can find that. It's downloadable for free on the website the webpage that I put in the chat box.
Yes. Thank you. I want to say, oh, yes, thank you. I want to say thank you so much for my friends for coming. And I also want to say that when I found out about what was going on with mad cow disease and the chickens that were killed in China due to bird flu, I stopped eating those animals overnight. I didn't have to, over a week, because it took a little processing time, but it didn't take me years. It was, this needs to stop. And so I so appreciate people taking steps little bits at a time, as Lisa was saying also, so that's very good. But also, don't be shy just saying, look, I've had it. As soon as I heard about dairy, like, who was it in the film that said, what's more important, your own senses or the senses of the other? That was that woman who talked about the five senses.
Promoter Chichurubano.
Promoter Chichur, yeah. I thought what she said was so beautiful, calling our attention to their five senses. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. See if there are any other questions. Thank you, Shankar. He's with Climate Healers. He's been helping put the questions in the Q&A.
Looks like there's somebody with a hand raised.
Yes, let me see. James, do you have a question? Okay.
I don't see any remaining questions.
No, okay. Okay. I tried to reach him through the chat, so I'm not sure what the question was, but I will. Oh, there he is again. Hi, James. Are you still there? Are you there?
So in the meantime, my question for everyone who's watching is, are you going to go vegan? And we will be, you will be receiving a survey from Climate Healers asking your thoughts. I don't know, do you want to say something about that, BJ? The survey is coming out tomorrow.
The survey will be coming through Zoom, so we would really like to hear from you. It's from Climate Healers, but please give us feedback for both Haithem and me, and ask questions how we could do better or what your thoughts are. We're just thrilled that you're here, and do some more research if you would like to find out more. If you are questioning, is that really true? Yeah, we honor your own sense of commitment to finding out the answers. Well, everybody, it's 8:45. If there's a final word you would like to say, Lisa or Thomas.
Oh, I want to encourage the people who have sent in a couple of new chats, just that they're considering. One person has mentioned that they have altered their meal delivery service to be vegan for next week. That's very exciting.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and baby steps, and just the huge shift even in making a choice to go vegetarian, and then imagine the second big shift to happen when you go vegan. A lot of people notice like health benefits, and it's really or even more enhanced spirituality. People often will tell me that they didn't feel very spiritual until they adopted a vegan diet, and that's also many of the spiritual teachers in the world do practice a vegan diet as they're going deep into meditation or other spiritual practices. So it does enhance our ability to connect with spirit.
Thank you, Lisa. And yay, Diamond, thank you. I'm glad that you're a newcomer onto being vegan. Yay.
Yeah, I wanted to say to Diamond, I actually started a meal subscription too, and I have this one, Purple Carrot. It is so good. It's all 100% plant-based, so you don't have to, like with a lot of them, you have to, if you're vegan, you only have 1 or 2 choices if you're lucky. But here it's all vegan, and it's really, really good.
Thank you, everyone. We're so glad you're here. If you would like, I'm going to let people go who want to at 8:45. If you would like to come on the panel and talk some more afterwards, I'll be here. Haithem will be here. You can also stay, Thomas and Lisa, but I'm going to bring people on who would like to stay and chat some more. Just raise your hand at the bottom of the participants and let me know if you'd like to come on. Once again, thank you, Lisa and Thomas. This has been marvelous.
Yeah, thanks to both of you and everyone who joined us tonight. Blessings.
Yeah.